Gage, at 2, no real interest in speech at all. He had always looked around. I used to call him my shifty-eyed little guy because I thought, oh, he's really interested in what's going on around the room. And that really is just poor eye contact with me. You Google toddler not talking and everything comes up autism. And then you get a checklist and you just get chills because at least 5 things on that checklist apply to your kid and you're like, oh gosh.
The official diagnosis was the beginning of last year in 2010. Very crippling. You know, when you hear that, you wonder where they're going to end up at the end of the day.
In the beginning, there's not a lot of support. It's overwhelming to go to some of the support groups because you see all of the whole spectrum is there, from the kids who you can't even tell are autistic to the kids who are laying on the floor. And you're wondering, is that going to be my kid?
The Gilbert family lives in Henderson, Nevada. A family of 5, Gordon and Gail, have 3 children: 6-year-old Griffin, 20-month-old Gibson, and 3-year-old Gage, who was diagnosed with autism over a year ago. The cause of autism has become an issue for celebrities and a subject for political debate, but the reality is it affects 1 in 100 children. So what can a family do once their child is diagnosed with autism? I recently spent time in Nevada with the Gilberts to learn more about what happens when an extraordinary child has extraordinary needs.
Here's your cards. There you go.
And the only thing shown to actually work is ABA therapy, which is applied behavioral analysis. But our insurance didn't cover it. And we immediately came home and called all of the places that offered it in our area, and out of pocket it's $90 an hour. So if you do the math, $90 an hour times 30 to 40 hours a week, you're looking at $10,000 a month in order to give your child a future, in order to give your child a chance. So, you know, how do you choose? But I mean, for us there was no choice because we simply had no way of getting that much money. So we tried to do what we could at home.
Some of them can be very unemotive and don't have empathy, which, you know, for my son not being able to say, I love you, would be very, very difficult. He has said that. He hugs and squeezes, and of course that's a little bit of that physical attention that he absolutely has to have as well. But as much as that's been a nice surprise for us, and he's surprised us in other ways as well. I call them sixth sense moments. The first one, we walked out and I had to ask Griffin, I said, did you put these letters together on the floor here? And I said, no. I said, are you telling me the truth? And I was taking a scale, I was like, are you messing with me? He'd written Pixar, Toy Story, and he'd just taken his letters and reassembled those. He wrote Old Navy after a while, after coming back from a shopping trip.
And how old was he when he did? Because I just want to paint the picture that that's very untypical for a child that age, no matter if you have any special need or not.
Yeah, we were seeing that behavior at about 2.5.
When you are 2 years and 10 months in the state of Nevada, you go to a center where they do a full test and diagnosis of your child. And if you qualify, they send you to a special program. They're integrated into all of the elementary schools with the idea that if you can get these kids to go to school now and they have that repetition for 2 years before they're supposed to start kindergarten, they have a great chance of being able to go to kindergarten with their peers.
Throw your teddy bear and catch, turn around, jump, jump, jump. Our environment is pretty much the same as an early childhood classroom would be, but the difference is we're a language-based room where we really encourage language and socialization, and we're a behavior-based room where we're working all the time on behaviors. Oh, are you going to put it way up there somewhere?
Brianna is a typical peer, while her twin sister Samantha is with autism. When she first entered, she was nonverbal. That's what they labeled her as. And now at 5, after 2 years of being in the program, she now speaks well over 1,000 words, and she's considered, you know, at the same level as the general ed kindergarten students.
Gage came the beginning of this year, the end of August, beginning of September, and he really was nonverbal. He made sounds, but he, as far as language, it was non-understandable. And he also had behaviors that he was just wandering around the room all the time. So he wouldn't be able to sit in circle, which he can do now. And he loves a written word, and he wants to say what he sees in writing.
In addition to the program at Gage's school and some occupational therapy in the mornings, he's doing ABA therapy for several hours a week. The Gilberts were fortunate to find a teacher's aide who is both affordable and hopeful about Gage's development.
Okay, I want you to stand up. Nice, listen, you stood up on the first time, good job. ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. And they come into the home or they go to a center and they work on behavioral techniques. Some of them work on different instructions. They work on following directions. Some work on tantrums, just depends. He is one of the most amazing children I've worked with. When he first came to our program, he had no eye contact. He had no verbal skills. He had trouble sitting in chairs. He couldn't follow directions at all. And now, just from June all the way till now in April, he has completely changed around. He has eye contact, he can talk to you, he can make requests now. So he's very much improved. Okay, do you want green grapes or purple grapes?
Green grapes.
Green grapes. Please.
Please.
Nice asking, Gage.
He had a few words here and there, and then about 2 months ago, his language just kind of exploded. It really started with, he had cards with Gordon and my picture on them, and they got him to say mommy and daddy, and that was really awesome.
Who is it?
Mommy.
Good job!
One of the therapists at Gage's school just caught a glimpse of him, really, and they actually do some hippotherapy, which is rather interesting, but their comment was, oh, that one's going to Harvard, which is quite flattering. You know, if someone sees that level of intellect in a child that small, what potential do they have? And it's a gift, and I think it goes squandered at a certain level. Take Temple Grandin, for instance. She has an MA in psychology, she has a PhD in animal husbandry, and she's designed half the slaughterhouses in the entire country because she has the ability to think in those capacities. And she was brought up in a time where institutionalized was the name of the game with autism. Imagine if we'd lost her.
Say hi, Gage. Say hi, Gage. Say, my name is Gage.
There's a great misconception about autism, the misconception of this child will always be like this, because they won't. They can do so much more. The difference is they need to be shown everything. And the difference is they are so smart that once you show them, they've got it. And they're on to something else. Don't show me that again. I want to go do this now. I want to put this together.
Gordon and Gail noticed Gage taking a strong interest in their iPhones, playing with games and navigating other apps. Encouraged by his interaction on a small device, they got him an iPad. This device with specifically designed apps and regular games had a dramatic impact on Gage's development.
Within 6 weeks of having the iPad, it was like something clicked in him. And the iPad brought everything that he'd been learning to a point where he could understand it, and at a pace where he could go over it again and again if he needed to.
His speech has increased. We use online readers where it will highlight the words, and he'll follow them along and actually regurgitate some of those. There was a program on there that was simply yes and no. Here you go, touch these. Fortunately now we just have to ask Gage yes or no, and he'll respond to us. Another great one is you'll actually draw numbers. It shows you the pattern to draw them, and it gets him again using his index finger, focusing on there. And it's something that he likes to do because he's always been attracted to letters and numbers for the longest period of time.
It's really opened up our eyes as to how intelligent he actually is, because with autistic children, you just don't know. Some of them are very highly intelligent, and you don't know. You have to act as if they all are, because it would be a shame to not nurture someone's intelligence just because they can't express it.
The Gilberts are so inspired by the positive impact of the iPad that they are in the process of launching the Gage Rufus Foundation with the mission to help other children with autism in Clark County, Nevada. Through the foundation, they hope to get an iPad in every autism classroom to increase the communication abilities of autistic children and help them find their voices, just like their son Gage was able to.
As an autism parent, sometimes you feel so helpless. Like, doesn't matter how much education you have, unless you're specially trained, you can't help your child. But the one thing that I can do is help give these educators the tools.
Put it on your head and walk around the room. That is super.
What we want to do is provide those devices for these great classrooms that you have here within the school district, and if we can get the exponential results that we've gotten from Gage, why should we not give it to everyone else?
We're in the very beginning phases right now, but I'm hoping that by this time next year that every autism classroom in Clark County, I'll have a list and I'll start going down it, and we'll one at a time until they're all done, and then we'll think of the next thing that we need to do.
It's a condition that's affecting 1 in 110 people right now. When you start looking at the long-term costs of not treating autism, you start thinking about 1% of the populace. So it's going to take a lot to care for them, should we not get them the care and the treatment that they need.
To see someone like Gage be able to talk and to be able to interact with his dad, the first time he said dad, and to watch him now wave goodbye in the morning, it's just, you know, there's no words to explain it.
The other night I put him to bed and I said, "Good night, Gage." And a lot of times he says good night back because he repeats. But the other night I put him to bed and I said, "Good night, Gage," and he said, "I love you." And that was really amazing because it wasn't prompted.
ADHD had a stigma not so long ago, and some of the things in ADHD correlate with some of the activities of autism, the hyperactivity, the rapid movement. We got over that. People are accustomed to it. We've made great progress with that. Why should we not be able to do it with autism as well?
We know that it's a lot of work now, but we will work as hard as we can now in hopes that the payoff will be big for him, in that he's able to live a typical life, live on his own, and contribute to society and be happy.